get revved up, and then game 4 we finally play our game for a full 60 minutes, and then back to not playing that way in 5 and 6. It's you think about every play and every game and try to summarize it and come up with concrete things that could have been changed, but it's a full team that needs to bring it every night, and we do that for the majority of the regular season, which is why it's when the chips are on the line and it's really it's playoff time and it's the most important part of the season, why it's more frustrating, because you've got a smaller time frame that should be easier to bring it in, and we fall off or have fallen off and not brought our A game while other teams seem to step up, and the result is April interviews again.
Fans are revved up from game 1. It's hard to imagine that every player wouldn't be. Is there any explanation at all for why you wouldn't be revved up from game 1?
I mean, it's the National Hockey League. It's the best league in the world for regular season, for playoffs. If there shouldn't need to be more revving up. I mean, you should be redlining for every game, in my opinion, so that give ourselves the best chance for success every single night. And we do that for most of the year, and that's the troubling thing, that from a short amount of reflection so far, that you see what efforts we have, over an 82-game season. We're probably really good for 85-90% of those games. If we're really good for 85 or 90% of the playoffs, we're still playing right now. Instead, we're okay for a few, we're really good for one, we're back to middling and mediocrity for the last two. And again, in 2 days, I don't know if it's much time to digest everything. It's much more sudden, and it's not like it gets any easier. It's a summer full of really mulling over everything that we've done or haven't done and trying to find solutions. And yeah, it sucks. It's 3 years in a row in the first round, and it's not by any means satisfying. It's a huge failure, I think, for every guy in this room, and nobody's satisfied by any stretch of the imagination. So that's the feeling. I guess that's my raw emotion. Past that, we'll start to pick up the pieces and let the dust settle, and find, we're going to come back next year with the same goal in mind, is to win a Stanley Cup, and not have this interview until we're all sweating because it's so hot in St. Louis. Like that's where we envisioned ourselves being this season. Fact of the matter is we didn't get a job done, and we own that.
Overall, do you feel like the team made any steps forward this season, and if so, what do you think those are?
Well, I think we came out and had another fantastic regular season. You play in the Central Division in the West. It's a tough division. You've got tough teams, from the first place team to the last place team are all really good teams, and to win that division is going to be tough every year. And whoever wins it has played really good hockey all year on a consistent basis against really good competition. That being said, it's where the line's drawn and the next chapter's folded over, and you look to the playoffs. That's a chapter that needs a lot of editing for us, and that we could, dive into, content or structure or whatever the heck you want to, look at. That's the part of, not that a regular season is solved, because next year we're going to have to pour a lot of energy and time and resources into getting into the playoffs again and having success in the regular season. But finding that way in the playoffs is something that's evaded us for far too long, and I'm sure there's plenty of effort spent last summer, but there's no stone unturned to find that key and that cog and what it's going to take to bring us to that next level. And it's a building, I think, towards that all season long, so that when that puck drops and there's different logos on the ice, a different atmosphere in the building, everything's amped up, that we're right there with it, amped up, and bringing the best hockey we've played all year rather than a drop-off.
Do you feel for the fans who get so?
Is there a different level of uncertainty this offseason, knowing there could be some drastic personnel changes? And do you think there has to be, to change what's happened the last 3-4 years?
Well, again, you take a step back and you see that we've produced great regular seasons and made the playoffs in 4 straight years. Not that that's something to hang a banner about, because it's not. That's not what you hang banners about. That's not our goal. But we've gotten to we've shown we can play that level. But why does it drop off, or why don't we keep up that success when the postseason's upon us? And that's really the answer that we're looking for, whether that's personnel or tactics or who knows. I'm sure there's not going to be anything that's not explored or on the table this offseason, and for the organization, for the city, that's going to be explored. And whether that should happen, again, we've got a lot of great character guys, a lot of great talent in this room, and you hate to see it, thrown in a blender and see what comes out on the other side. But when you don't get a job done, there's going to be changes, and we gotta look for solutions in every way that we can.
Guys, let's do Stu Jacks, okay?